Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Christmas. As Christmas is approaching, people get happy and friendly with each other, children get lovely presents and snuggle into their blankets in the warmth of their comfy American suburban homes, while I'm sitting here procrastinating on my college papers by repeatedly trying to play outdated archetypes online in the cold dead surrounding of my cramped room in Montenegro, knowing that the most valuable present I will get is €3 from my decrepit grandfather and a pat on the shoulder from my mother for not throwing myself off a bridge yet. So fuck that, we're not doing a Christmas special. Instead, we're gonna look at some fucking birds. Here we go, number 10. Harpie Channeler is a good example of a single card that revitalizes an age-old archetype by making it click together with the cards of modern age. By discarding one Harpie card, you can special summon any Harpie monster from your deck, and while you control a dragon-type monster, which you can quite easily summon with this effect, Channeler's level becomes 7. In combination with the infamous Harpie's Hunting Ground field spell, Channeler can easily net you the destruction of 2 spell and trap cards, all while making it easy to bring out a rank 4 or 7 monster, which are universally regarded as 2 best ranks in the game. And if you're really desperate and playing in the OCG, just discard fucking Harpie's Feather Duster. I mean, who even needs that back row destruction while you have Hunting Ground, am I right? Don't actually listen to me cause I'm talking out of my ass back there, please don't discard Feather Duster. At number 5 we have Ice Beast 09. Small technical problems, what I actually meant to say was, at number 9 we have Ice Beast zerofyne, and she is fine. It's a rank 4 Xyz monster exclusive to Winged Beasts, and its effect allows you to detach 1 Xyz material to negate the effects of all cards your opponent controls at the moment, and then it gains 300 attack for each card currently face up on the field. And the best part about this is that it lasts until your next standby phase. So while putting a massive stun onto all of your opponent's field spells, continuous back row or pesky monster effects, it also gains a potentially huge amount of attack. For Harpies or Blackwings, this was pretty much one of the only outs to Apocrypha Towers while it was still unlimited, because zerofyne very rarely boosts itself below 3200. And true, as good as mass negation is, it's not too amazing when it's not a quick effect, but that doesn't mean zerofyne still can't do some significant damage. I thought of even putting it in the honorable mentions for top 10 non-generic Xyz monsters, but there just wasn't enough space. Maybe next time, sweetie. Swooping down to number 8 is Blackwing Zephyros the Elite. It's a level 4 monster that can, once per duel, special summon itself from the graveyard by bouncing 1 card you control to the hand and then taking 400 damage. Alright, so there's like 400 million Blackwing cards, and Raikiri would be my other choice, but I feel Zephyros' splashability into rank 4 decks as well as his amazing self-bouncing effect make him a way better representative of the archetype. It helps with synchro plays, Xyz plays, recycles your fiendish chains or gets rid of your own vanities. There's just so much you can do with this one card, it's not even funny. Sadly, the effect is limited to 1 per duel, but I suppose any other way would sort of make it overpowered. There's not much else to say here other than stating the obvious fact that this is an honored member of the Blackwing tribe for a very good reason. Sitting atop the throne of number 7 is Raiza, the Mega Monarch. I for one like to believe that he was named after the New Zealand pronunciation of the word razor. Anyway, this is one of the mega evolutions of the old monarchs, and as is tradition, it represents a beefed up version of its previous incarnation. Whereas the old Raiza would just spin 1 card on the field back to the top of the deck when it was tribute summoned, the big guy spins 1 card from the field and 1 in either player's graveyard to the top of the deck, and then if it was tribute summoned with a wind monster, it can bounce 1 additional card. Alright, so, spinning a card, nice. Spinning 1 more from the graveyard to either clog up the opponent or retrieve something you need, very nice. Bonus bouncing at that? Well, sign me up for a ride on the Raiza train. And as is the case with the other Mega Monarchs, he has a huge body and is only about to become more powerful with the incoming Monarch support. Sadly, people tend to ditch him in favor of Mega Testalos, Caius and Zaborg, but Raiza's versatility is nothing to scoff at. Plus, the Wind Vassal Garum makes it way easier to pull off his Wind Tribute effect, and Garum is indeed seeing play in Mega Monarch decks, so I cannot do much else but recommend every Monarch fan to try running Mega Raiza every now and then. Nuking its place into the number 6 spot is the great and almighty Fire King High Avatar Garunix. This is the boss monster of what's quite possibly the most balls to the wall batshit insane archetype in the game, in a good way of course, those being Fire Kings. During the standby phase after the turn in which Garunix was destroyed by any card effect, it summons itself back onto the field, destroying all other monsters upon its arrival. And if any of you are unfamiliar with Fire Kings and consider relying on your monster getting destroyed by a card effect to be inefficient or inconsistent, no worries, the other Fire King cards make it perfectly clear that if all you want is a free Dark Hole every turn, you merely need to use these few handy support cards. Before Fire Kings, which were released in late 2012 in Japan, we had a few archetypes dedicated to getting their cards sent to the graveyard, but nothing really as absurdly funny as these guys. How many cards before Yaksha actually were there that destroyed a card in your hand? Not discard or send to the graveyard, destroy in the hand. This is a chicken you put in the oven, leave it to overheat and burn the whole fucking house down, killing all its inhabitants, and then you put it back in the oven and repeat the process. It's a morbid allegory, but hey, it works for me. So, speaking of particularly large chickens, here's one that's definitely been well done. Both in terms of being a dark chicken and its in-effect design. Dark Simorgh is an interesting early take on a Denko Sekka-ish lockdown monster that can actually shut down quite a lot of modern decks, were it not for its particularly oddball summoning condition. You can special summon it from the hand by banishing one wind and one dark monster from the graveyard, and you can also special summon it from the graveyard by banishing a wind and dark monster from the hand. It's not exactly an easily accessible chaos monster or anything, but the benefit is that the opponent cannot set any cards, be it back row or monsters. A turbo deck dedicated to using Dark Simorgh along with anti-spell fragrance will force the opponent to rely solely on using monster cards to get anywhere in the duel, and with the advent of the lovely Pendulum Magicians, his log becomes significantly easier to summon. And you know what else? He has an adorable little tiny hat. Just oh my god, look at it, it is so cute. And speaking of unnoticed details, did you know Relinquish has a face? Anyway, back to you, list. At number 4 is the ever so infuriating Bujingi Crane. Apparently, because it wasn't enough for Bujins to have like 300 Honests and a Searcher for them, Crane makes sure that attacking into the stationary Yamato castle is never ever a safe bet. Here's how playing against Bujins goes. If they open Yamato and don't search Crane, they have it in the hand definitely so you can't attack, and then they discard Turtle so you can't target. If they do search Crane, well then, you know you can't attack. If you happen to mind crush the Cranes, oh, no worries, they still have Sinyo and Honest ready to go, the little shits. While being a part of probably the most boring deck to play in existence, despite having amazingly cool designs, I can't do much but admire the sheer amount of salt Bujingi Crane can cause just by getting revealed from your hand to the opponent, knowing that this is one battle that won't end too nicely for them. And here we are at number 3. I dread not only the sight of this card, but also the mere mention of its goddamn name. Castel the Skyblaster Musketeer. I was extremely tempted to put this hellspawn at number 1 due to the fact that this piece of generic rank 4 degeneracy allows literally every deck ever with 2 level 4 monsters to easily get rid of any single given threat at least 95% of the time. I'm genuinely surprised they didn't just make him not even target, although I suppose they remember the other rank 4 hellspawn that spins cards into the deck. See, the thing is that that one isn't generic and I can somewhat tolerate it for that, but hey, while I do feel dirty for using Castel as an easy way out of a sticky situation, there is no denying that this is easily among the best Xyz monsters in the game, all while being a very fancy winged beast. Yeah, Castel actually has a beak, took me a while to realize it too. Alright, so number 2 wouldn't be number 2 if it wasn't for its recent resurfacing due to the appearance of Pendulum Magicians, but since it started serving as a pseudo Quasar, I really had no choice but to put it this high. Mist Valley Apex Avian used to be the boss monster for the Mist Valley archetype, an awkward and clunky bunch of monsters focused on self-bouncing. Admittedly, they had a really good field spell that managed to get itself limited due to being abused in an FTK, but I digress. Apex Avian most often finds its place between Dragon Pulse and Dragon Pit Magicians, negating anything once per turn and then coming back to do it again in the next one. Combined with the Terror of Vortex Dragon, that amounts to 2 negations per turn, and oh boy, when Infinity rolls into the TCG there's gonna be heck to go through. It's actually really fascinating to see something as obscure as hidden arsenal boss monsters become relevant with the advent of new cards that find ways to abuse them. Now here's a challenge for you, Konami, make them Ice Barrier Pendulums, that's the real shit people want! So as usual, before we get to number 1, let's cover some honorable mentions. Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys for being a garunix for back row, Mist Valley Falcon for some of that sweet self-bouncing, Crane because rank 3 plays, and Great Bill because nothing, and I repeat, literally nothing, escapes this beast's massive mouth. Much like your mama's. Okay, look, I know he's not a winged beast, but his winged beast cousin, Droll Bird, really wanted him to be famous on YouTube, so here we go, buddy. At least 3 people saw you just now. Savor the moment because nobody else might actually see you at any given moment in the future. And so, here we are. As we approach the crowned emperor of birds step by step on the golden stairway, we must remember that while his glory days are long gone, nobody can deny his overwhelming influence on the entire world's history. So while he might be a bit rusty and slow nowadays, you have no right to treat him as anything below a motherfucking god. I am of course talking about the one and only gladiator beast gyzarus, the bird that made glad beasts win more consecutive tournaments in a row than ever thought imaginable by human beings. Contact fuse bestiary with any glad beast, get to pop 2 cards and attack with a 2400 monster, and then tag out into 2 monsters to either pop more cards or get some solid walls for the upcoming turn. This was usually followed by getting out yet another bestiary who would then pop a back row and fuse into gyzarus and just repeat the cycle of destruction forever until the opponent dropped dead. While the best gladiator beast support was released alongside First of the Lightstorms, who would then keep getting more and more support along with the structure deck, ultimately becoming way better than their rival deck, Glad Beasts, they cannot ever hope to imagine to reach the amount of success the beasts achieved in their lifetime. And as I already said, gyzarus isn't nearly as much of a beast as he used to be, but it's just the sheer, undisputed power it possessed, that was also one of the reasons why bestiary was limited, that makes it stand out as much as it does. Easily one of the most game-changing boss monsters in history, this is one bird that will always soar in everyone's hearts. Okay, that actually sounded really lame, forget I said that. Well, there you go, boys, girls and birds. I hope you appreciate this fall Christmas special I shat out instead of studying, and I'd like to thank you for getting me to reach 100 subscribers. That definitely motivates me to work more on this channel and hope to make it into something bigger. Have a rank 10 Christmas everyone, and a happy new train!